That was Amber Sinkler showing off her baby bump when she was pregnant.
As you guys can see, I am 14 weeks and 3 months pregnant with my second baby.
Now the mom of 2 and her husband are accused of sick sex crimes involving drugs, a young child, and child pornography involving kids and a dog. I go through the horrifying allegations against the wannabe influencer and her husband and why police believe there are more victims. I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. You know, the allegations in this case that I'm going to tell you about are so horrific, and that's why I am glad we partner with a company like Truthfinder, where you can search for public records to learn about people. Truthfinder saves us a lot of time on research here, so we can focus on reporting crime and not paperwork. You can actually use Truthfinder too. I actually searched for Amber Sinkler, and I found her, although her criminal history is not popping up just yet. All you do is type in a name to find addresses, criminal history, and much more. This is our go-to tool for checks and one of the largest search services in the United States. With a subscription, you get unlimited confidential searches to check on new neighbors, vet people you meet online, or find someone that you simply want to reconnect with. You can even look up registered sex offenders who live nearby or do a background search on yourself. Stay informed, stay safe, check public records with Truthfinder now at truthfinder.com/LCCrimeFix.
Hi guys, this is Amber Sinkler.
Amber Sinkler has been posting videos on YouTube for 3 years, and she seems like your average person, talking about video games and even snakes.
Who knows, maybe there's going to be a peek in the future where there's going to be a Zelda one. I got to remember where I was at in Zelda, that's why it's going to have a hard time jogging my memory. But this video is not about Let's Plays. This video is giving you guys an update about Racer, our lovely little snake. So if we come in here, the last time I told you guys saying that he was shedding, he was getting ready to shed, and all that. Well, both of his eyes recently in a couple of days did turn like that cloudy grayish color.
That's just one video, just a lady talking about video games and snakes. But Amber isn't able to make any videos right now because she's in jail in St. Charles County, Missouri, and she's facing very serious charges, including endangering the welfare of a child, creating substantial risk in the first degree with sexual contact, and possession of child pornography, second offense, or possessing more than 20 photos, 1 film, or videotape. Now, I'll get into the specific allegations shortly, but some, I'm going to warn you, are just too disturbing to repeat, and they allegedly involve a very young child, just 2 years old. Amber's husband, Josh, is in even more legal hot water, if you can imagine. Josh Sinkler faces 7 felony charges. They are child molestation in the first degree, statutory rape or attempted statutory rape in the first degree of a person younger than 14, statutory sodomy or attempted statutory sodomy, deviant sexual intercourse on a person less than 14 years old, sexual exploitation of a minor child, possession of child pornography, a second subsequent offense, or possessing more than 20 pictures, 1 film, or videotape. Endangering the welfare of a child, engaging in sexual conduct under 18 years of age as a parent/guardian in the first degree and a first offense, and finally, that 7th felony, incest. On Facebook, Josh and Amber look like a happy couple. They have 2 children. In one photo, they took the children to Six Flags, the amusement park. On YouTube, Amber talked about her pregnancy, showing off that baby bump.
Hey guys, as you guys can see, I am 14 weeks and 3 months pregnant with my second baby. Now, I did put a baby app on my phone, and when I put that in there saying I was due July 21st, that is when the baby's supposed to be here, July 21st, they said I was actually 16 weeks pregnant and 3 months, and I'm like, okay, this is very unweird, because the person told me I was 14 weeks instead of 16 weeks, so somebody's wrong. I don't know exactly what I am, so I believe it's still like this, but I think it's changed. I think I'm now 15 weeks pregnant with baby.
Recently, Amber recorded a video when she was working a shift at McDonald's.
Hey guys, this is Amber Sinkler here, and in today's video, I'm at work right now, but it's gonna get really interesting today after I get off work. Tomorrow, however, we have a lot more videos to do. That includes Final Fantasy, Legend of Zelda, Lego Star Wars, and I believe we're also going to start maybe like 2 or 3 episodes of a brand new Let's Play. And I've been dying to do all this.
It's like this YouTube channel is her personal vlog, like she's trying to be an influencer. She even talks about wrestling.
Having to find out how it happened, I don't know if I'm shocked or it hurts. It hurts to see somebody that you grew up watching and retire. Like, you grew up watching John Cena and having to see him retire and lose on his last match, which is pretty hard in my thing there. But I have been an emotional wreck all morning. I cried maybe like 4 or 5 times already. I've been looking back on a lot of videos, seeing so many things there, and it's hard. It really is, because Cena's one of the greatest wrestlers that you could ever have in WWE, and having to see that his last match was last night and then he lost it, it's heartbreaking.
So that's just a little bit of the content that Amber Sinkler has been posting on YouTube over the last 3 years. But police say the child's sex abuse material that they claim they found on her phone was much, much different. The description of what the detectives said they found is so graphic and disturbing that I can't really go into detail about it. What I can tell you is that there were 4 videos that the detectives said they found on her phone, and one they say is almost 6 minutes with the file name fully naked and a term I can't say here on YouTube. It shows a young girl. The second video, police say, is over 9 minutes, and the title is Rabbit Girl Inez. Police said the video showed an adult male sexually assaulting a young girl. Police say the third video is 42 seconds long and shows a sex act between an 8-year-old girl and a dog. And police say the fourth video's file name is 10-year-old and dad, and it's 20 minutes and 50 seconds long. Police say they also found 3 photos on Amber's phone of a person doing some things to a dog that I really don't want to describe for you. It's really gross. I mentioned earlier that Amber Sinkler is charged with endangering children. An affidavit gives us some details about what police say she allowed her husband, Josh Sinkler, to do to a 2-year-old little girl. The affidavit states Amber Sinkler committed the offense of endangering the welfare of a child in the first degree by being fully aware of her husband having sexual contact with the 2-year-old victim and not stopping the abuse nor reporting the abuse. Amber said she was in the same bed as her husband and the child while he was actively photographing the molestation. Amber also said her husband becomes very sexual with the child while he is on cocaine. Amber was also aware that there was cocaine in the residence with her 2 children, and the cocaine was within reach and very accessible to both of her minor children. Amber said she is aware her husband has been having sexual contact with the 2-year-old victim for 2 years. So right there, the police say Amber told them that the victim is 2 and that Josh had been having sexual contact with that child for 2 years. So since this child was a newborn, police said they believe Amber is a danger to the victim in this case. The officer wrote in the affidavit, "I have reasonable grounds to believe that the defendant will not appear upon the summons or is a danger to the crime victim, the community, or any other person because Amber showed no concern for the child victim in this case and made no attempt to stop the sexual abuse." Amber stated she didn't report the abuse to her family or law enforcement out of fear for what may happen to her husband. Amber also implicated her husband may be having sex with a yet-to-be-identified 11-year-old in the neighborhood. Amber also showed poor judgment and a lack of character by stating she, quote, wouldn't be surprised if her husband was molesting other children in the neighborhood. So I'd like to bring in Allie Young. She practices criminal defense in Missouri. Allie, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sorry that we have to talk about something so horrific. These allegations are just beyond the pale. These two people, Amber and Josh Sinkler, have pleaded not guilty. For a lot of people always say, oh my God, there's videos, there's this, there's that. They pleaded not guilty. Why? How could they do that? Explain to the viewers why at this stage in the game they're pleading not guilty.
Right. Well, at this point, they can't plead guilty. They're in associate circuit court. And so since they're charged with felonies, they have to be moved into circuit court. No judge is going to allow them to just automatically plead guilty without due process. Them pleading not guilty protects their rights and allows for the process of the justice system to move forward as it's supposed to. Attorneys can get appointed as far as public defenders. They can hire their own private attorneys, but no judge is going to allow them to plead guilty to these types of felonies in associate court without due process. That is the easiest way for these cases to be reversed and to come back and not the defendants not face consequences for their actions if they were to plead guilty right now.
Well, and, they need an attorney to review the evidence and to ensure that their rights weren't violated, things of that nature.
Exactly.
These and to review the evidence. These things are all very important.
Right. Every defendant deserves that due process, regardless of what they're charged with, and whether or not they're innocent or guilty of the crime. That due process protects whether or not a case can come back on appeal or not.
Let's talk now about what is alleged here, because it's really bad. We kind of are glossing over this really because some of what is contained in these documents is so graphic that talking about it on YouTube, we would, get in trouble, I think. But it's very graphic. This is a little girl. Amber Sinkler is accused of permitting her husband repeatedly, since this child was a newborn essentially, to molest this little girl. And she's saying he does cocaine. This is what the police are saying. The police are saying that Amber said to them, he does cocaine and he gets really sexual with the baby, and she let this happen. And I'm kind of stunned by that. Your thoughts as a criminal defense attorney on how you handle that?
This is one of the most heinous cases that I've seen come across my desk. It's one that really shocks the conscience. It's one that you really just have to stop and kind of push the documents away and, go and touch grass outside to get a little bit of perspective in your own life as well. But yeah, we don't know how the allegations come forward. It doesn't say if the son that's in the house kind of finds out and he makes disclosures. Obviously, the 2-year-old's going to be a little bit too young to make disclosures. But we don't know exactly how the allegations come about. Does the mom, Amber, just come forward and say, you know what, enough is enough? Or does somebody else find out and the case is hotlined and then eventually he's investigated and more is found out? We don't know. But that will come out in the investigation.
And that's an interesting point you make, because I'm trying to piece that together as well. The St. Charles County Police Department posted that the St. Charles County Cybercrimes Task Force investigated this. So the tip could have come in any number of ways. It could have been a tip about somebody. We've seen how this happens sometimes. A tip comes in about somebody downloading child pornography, and that's one of the allegations here too, is that there was possession of child pornography here, and it's very graphic child pornography, some of it involving animals, adults, one involving a dog, one involving the sexual assault of a child by an adult. So this is sometimes tips come in to these local task forces from NCMEC and other kind of bigger organizations.
Yes. So the task force can get kind of hits from maybe if it's uploaded to a Google Drive or if it's uploaded to the cloud, or they can see they may have undercover officers that are also receiving these, if they're disseminating those videos or those pictures to other people, they could get it from an undercover as well. And then that's what starts the investigation. But those cyber crimes task force, they investigate these types of cases all day long. But it's a long withstanding investigation. It's not quick. It doesn't, they don't get a tip right away and it just kind of materialize overnight. It takes a long time for them to put their case together and to get the warrants and the search warrants that are needed in order to find out who's downloading and who's viewing this awful thing.
And they certainly didn't show their cards on that, that we're seeing in the documents that we have. What is so stunning to me about this, this couple has been together for a long time, it appears. They say on Facebook they've been married since like 2019, but it appears that they actually got married in 2024 from what I saw. They have 2 children together. On Facebook, they're going to Six Flags. They look like this, I love my husband. I love my children. She's posting all over YouTube. She's like, wants to be an influencer, it seems like, or doing this video vlog thing. I don't know what her real motivation is here, but it's like, so if these allegations are proven true, it's so deceiving. Appearances can be deceiving, the old saying. And so I'm stunned by the allegations I'm reading, because Amber allegedly is aware of all this. According to one part of the affidavit, she says she thinks he's having sex with an 11-year-old in the neighborhood, and she wouldn't be surprised if he's having sex with other kids. And having sex implies consent. These kids can't consent. So she thinks he may be molesting other people. My God, like, how common is this? I mean, this makes me think it may be more common than we want to realize.
Right. Well, and it's one thing where you have to also ask yourself, is she just trying to throw him under the bus in order to save herself as well? Maybe like, hey, smoke and mirrors, look at him instead of me, kind of pushing that blame and that kind of maybe disgust that she's feeling with herself onto her husband and saying it's his fault, not mine. Look at the disgusting things he's doing. But yeah, the St. Charles County Sheriff's Office, they're asking for anybody to come forward that may have more information about other sexual assaults that Mr. Sinkler has committed.
And they put out this information. I'm glad you brought that up. They do want police are asking for other people to come forward if they have information, if there are other victims out there. And they put out a number of locations where they believe he's been hanging out over the years. One is the Town West Mobile Home Park in St. Charles, the Glengate Mobile Home Park, and then the Marcus St. Charles Cinema. They're saying he is also known to have frequented the rear parking lot. Why is he hanging out in the rear parking lot of a movie cinema? I mean, that sounds creepy as can be.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like he's looking for teenagers who are coming out of a movie late at night and looking to prey on individuals that may want some attention from an older man.
One of the things that you brought up here, too, is that you're saying that it's possible that Amber could be like saying, look at the shiny object over here. Look at Josh, not me. Like, I might, even though she doesn't really sound like a victim here. I mean, they're saying she had this stuff on her phone too. So, I mean, if you're actually aware of this going on and you're aware of your child being molested and you're condoning it, do you think that possibly she's going to see other charges aside from these two that she's facing right now, the possession of child pornography and the child endangering? Because if you're aware of it,
Yeah.
you're basically you're endorsing it essentially.
That enablingness can kind of turn into you're an accessory, especially if they're creating videos of their daughter. She could then also face charges for that. A jury would have to decide if she's doing that for her own sexual pleasure as well. But yeah, she absolutely could have more severe charges. And I'm kind of shocked that she doesn't, just based off of the affidavit and the things that we know that she was also somewhat a quasi-participant in.
And Allie, I know there was one part of this that was especially horrific, that as moms, both of us were pretty sickened by this. You know, the whole thing is disturbing. But there's a part of this where they talk about the little girl like clutching a stuffed animal while being sexually assaulted. And I am just, I can't even imagine.
No, that's something that, I mean, it pulls at all of our heartstrings. One, that a little girl is being sexually assaulted, but also, I mean, we can all identify with having that comfort object. I mean, as a 30-year-old, I still have my own comfort object. My son is developing his attachment to his own. And so you just kind of, it personalizes it, where you're thinking about how scared and how just uncomfortable and hurt she is at that point in time.
I hope this child is now in the care of people who are going to ensure she gets the help that she needs. This is absolutely horrific. Anyone, as we mentioned, should contact the St. Charles County Police Department if they have information about Josh Sinkler and Amber Sinkler. The call has been put out by this police department. They want to hear from you. Allie Young, any final thoughts?
Hold your babies tight, kiss them, because you never know what is happening behind closed doors. Also, I mean, you talked a little bit about it, how she was a wannabe influencer. You never know what a person is outside of the camera. So don't put any stock in that. Just hold your babies tight.
Yeah. And watch out for the kids around your kids too.
Yep.
I mean, the red flags, any signs, you just never know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Allie Young, thank you so much for being here and for offering your time and your expertise.
Yeah. Thank you.
Again, Josh Sinkler and Amber Sinkler have pleaded not guilty to the charges they face, and they're being held without bail in St. Charles County, Missouri. We'll keep an eye on this case and let you know what happens. That's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.